Okay, so let's have a look at percentage increase and decrease. So what I'm going to do is just do a few examples of how you increase amounts by a certain percentage or decrease amounts by a certain percentage. So let's have a look at our first example here. Let's say we have 16 euros, and let's say we want to increase that by 13.5%. So we want to increase this increase by 13.5%. Now we could need to do this for various reasons. We're increasing the price of something if the price goes up, or maybe this could be the VAT amount, the VAT value added tax that the government applies to certain things. So let's see how you do that. Well, there are a couple of ways of doing it. Let's take the 16 euros, and I'm just going to get 13.5% of it. So we're going to look at getting 13.5% of our 16 euros first of all. And when I get that, I'm just going to add it to the 16 euros. So let's see how we would go about doing that. Well, the 13.5% is just 13.5 divided by 100. Percent means out of 100. So it's 13.5. The line here is divided by per, in other words, and this is our 100 here, percent. So we're going to multiply. When you see the word of here, it usually means multiply. So we're going to multiply by 16. So when you do that, you'll get 2 euros 16 cents. So the cost of this particular item here, whatever it was originally 16 euros. We're going to increase it by 13.5%. Let's say VAT. We're going to add VAT to it, value add tax to it. So we're going to take our 16 euros. We're just going to add 2 euros 16 cents. So that will just give us a total price then of 18 euros 16 cents. So this is our price of whatever it is we were buying, including the VAT, or the value added tax. Now another way of doing that in fewer steps, if you like, is just to take our 16 euros and multiply it by 1.135. So this will give us our final answer here of 18.16 euros directly. So what we're doing here, the 1 here represents the 16, the 100%, if you like, and then we're increasing it by this part here, if you like, the 0.135. So we're multiplying it by 1, which represents the 100%. If you multiply 16 by 1, you just get 16. If you multiply it by 0.135, which is effectively what we did up here, you'll get the 2.16. So this does all of this in one go, if you like. So we get the same answer here. Okay, so let's have a look at another example. So that's a percentage increase. Let's take 899 euros, and let's say this time we want to decrease it. So we want to decrease this by, let's say, 21%. Now, so we can take our 899 euros and just get 21% of it. So 21% of 899 euros. Okay, so if we do that, we should get, let's see, 21% of 899 euros is 188 euros 79 cents. So if we want to decrease this, we need to subtract this time. So what we're going to do is take our 899 euros, we're going to subtract 188.79. So let me just quickly do that on my calculator here, 899, and we want to subtract 188.79, and that will give us 710 euros and 21 cents. Now the other way of doing that, similar to what we did above, this is our answer here, we could just simply take the 899 euros. Now this time we want to decrease it by 21%. So our 100% is our 899 euros. We want to decrease it by 21. So if we subtract 21 here, we'll get 979. So really what we're doing is we're going from 100%, which is our 899, down to 79%. We want 79% of this 899. So we could just multiply by 79%, or just take our 899 multiplied by 79 over 100, or 0.79. This is just 0.79. So if we take our 899, multiply it by 79, divide by 100, we should again get 710 euros 21 cents. So we get the same answer again here. Okay, so that's our percentage increase, percentage decrease. Let's just have another look at another example here. Let's say we have 283 euros 75 cents. Okay, let's say we have our VAT again, our value added tax, and this is included. So whatever percentage the government is adding for VAT here, it's actually included. This includes the VAT. So let's say our VAT is at a rate of 13.5%. 13.5%. So we want to know how much was the object that we bought before VAT was added. So this includes VAT. What was the cost of our whatever it is we were purchasing before VAT was added? So the way we do that is we take this amount here as being 113.5%. Remember, when we our original cost will be 100%. When we add the VAT, it'll be at 113.5%, if you like. So here, this is going to be equal to, let's put it equal to 283 euros 75. 283 euros 75 cents. It's not really equal. These numbers are not equal. So let's say it's equivalent to, if you like. So we want to know what 100% was. So we're going from 113.5% and we want to get back to 100%. The way we're going to do that is we're going to go down to 1% first, and then we're going to increase to 100%. So again, we'd say they're equivalent to here. Now, if you think about this, how did we go from 113.5% to 1%? Well, what we did here is we divided 113.5 by 113.5. If you divide 113.5 by 113.5, you get 1. So now let's go up to 100%. So how do you go from 1 up to 100? Well, you're just going to multiply 1 by 100. If you multiply 1 by 100, you'll get 100. So this is the procedure from going from to go from 113.5% to 100%, go down to 1 and then go up to 100, using this kind of procedure here. And all we're going to do is exactly the same on the right hand side. We're going to do exactly the same. So we're going to first of all divide this number here by 113.5, and then we're going to multiply by 100. So let's see what happens when we do that. If we take 283.75 and divide it by 113.5, we'll actually get 2.5. You can do that on your calculators, but we'll actually just get 2.5. So 1% is actually 2.5 euros. Multiply that by 100 and you'll get 250 euros. So what does that mean? That just means that our original cost, so the original cost was 250 euros. If you get 13.5% of that, if you multiply that by 0.135, so if you take 250 multiply by 0.135, you'll get 33.75. If you take the 250 and add that 33.75, you will end up back here again, 283.75. So it is the correct value here before VAT was added. So this is the cost of the item before you added the 13.5%, and we just double check that by getting 13.5% of this and adding it on to see have we ended up back where we started again, and we did. Okay, so let's have a look at another example of that. So let's take something that was purchased, let's say a car for example was purchased for 9,000 euros, and again VAT is included, so value added tax is included at a rate of, let's say, 25% this time. Okay, so we bought this car, we handed over 9,000 euros, VAT was included, value added tax was included, and we want to know, well, how much was the car without the 25% being added. So again, start with the fact that 9,000 euros is in fact not 100% but 125%, and that's going to be equivalent to your 9,000 euros. We want to go back down to 1% and then back up to 100%. So this would be the this would give us the cost of the car before VAT was added. So again, how did we do this? Well, we got to go from 125 down to 1. So how do we do that? Well, divide 125 by 125. That'll give you 1. Then go up here to 100. How do you go from 1 up to 100? Well, you just multiply by 100. Do exactly the same on this side. Divide by 125 and then multiply by 100. So you do the same on both sides. Now take 9,000, divide it by 125, and you'll actually get 72 euros. So that's your 1%. Go back up to 100%, so multiply this by 100 and you get 7200 euros. Okay, so this was the cost of the car before VAT was added, before 25% was added. So let's just double check that just to make sure that's correct. So we're going to take our, we'll do it another way actually. We'll take our 7200, which is our 100%. We want to bring it back up to 125%. So this time I'm not going to get 25% and add it. I'm going to do it in the one-step process. So what I'm going to do is multiply by 1.25. I'm going to multiply by 1.25. So remember, multiplying by the 1 will leave it as it is. Multiplying it by the 0.25 will give us the extra 25% here. So if you take 7,200, multiply by 1.25, you'll get exactly 9,000 euros. So you can see it does work. So this was our cost before VAT was added at 25%, and then we've seen here that if we do multiply by 1.25, if we do add the 25%, we do end up back here at the cost that we actually paid for the car.